Let me get that mic, man. Let me get that mic. I'm Tangent. This channel is Art versus Science, and we are on day 4, part 2. Don't worry about the actual days. We are on day 4, part 2. It's according to my sleep cycle, and you know that AI don't sleep. So today we have absolutely massive news for the industry, but also massive news for the channel and the journey that we're going on with these AI businesses. Industry news, pardon me. Industry news is that ChatGPT 4.1 has been launched. And this is, as far as I'm aware, the first AI model that has been released that is focused and dedicated towards being good for AI agents. So the big boys in AI are now catching up to us. We have been so far ahead of the curve, so far ahead of the game, that these guys were building LLMs just trying to be smart, and now they've realized that the actual future is what we worked out over a month ago, that it's AI agents. That's going to be the key to this. That's going to be the thing that is the most powerful, right? So we've got OpenAI GPT 4.1. It is only accessible through API. And if you've been following the channel, you would realize that makes sense, because obviously agents only want to do things through APIs, right? There's no user interface, chatbot front end for something that is designed specifically for agency, for agents to access. So we've got, this is a really cool model. It's one of the best for coding already, because obviously, again, so it's really tweaked and tailored to be super powerful, but also super focused on being good for agents. So this is big news for the industry. This is big news for us, and it reinforces that we were ahead of the curve. Straight in to, so that's epic. I might get time to show you how to access that, but you can just search an AI, just pull an AI and search to how to get access to that, since it's API only. We want to look at the rankings. We want to see if this new 4.1 model has made it into. It would obviously be on trending because it's so new. If it's there at all, it'll be on trending. No, Optimus Alpha is still at the top. That's all good. From what I've heard, it's very good, very powerful. Don't worry about it not being in these rankings just yet, right? Maybe this is literally has only just dropped, so like within the last couple of hours. So we won't freak out too much. Look, this day, is this today? Yeah, this day's data hasn't even been compiled yet. In terms of, so this is obviously live data. So you'd expect that this, by the way, look at this thing going exponential. Look at the usage of AIs through this platform, which is openrouter.ai, going absolutely exponential. More and more people are realizing that this is a very, very, very insanely powerful way to be adopting this technology to make themselves more productive, to make themselves more knowledgeable, to make their businesses more efficient, it's basically like having a friend that's a super genius that you can just be like, hey, let's launch a business together. So we're doing 30 businesses in 30 days. We're absolutely smashing it, knocking out of the park. And today, I did say we've got massive news. Don't worry, efficiency bros. Don't worry. We're getting there. So massive news for the channel, but more so the journey and the mission that we are on with this whole idea of using AI for practical implementations in business is I've decided to go straight to the top shelf. We're going to go straight to the top shelf, and we're going to, first, First, we're going to have a little flick through of the stuff that, because you know how like I do, the episodes are kind of in two parts. There's ones where we set it up, we talk about it, and then I go and work on it. And then in the start of the next episode, I usually talk about what we achieved or where we hit walls and things like that. So I have made a promise to an existing, I've got a large community. I've got over 15,000 followers, but it's in a different industry and it's on a different platform. So it's over on Twitter. And I promised them, because it's very hard to get people to follow you cross-platform, and it's very hard to get people to follow you into a different industry. They're like, we don't want to hear about that. That's not what we're interested in. So I made a promise to the people that follow me in that industry, those 15,000 strong soldiers, that if they were to come and start subbing to this channel, every 10 subs, so only 10 subs, every 10 subs, we're going to be making this AI chick more realistic. The one that you would have seen in my shorts. She's a baddie, and she's going to be becoming more real. And so here's a little preview of what we managed to do, making her 3D. So this site was very impressive. By the way, she can do all sorts of different stuff. She can sit. So this is quite far along. We'll take dancing like a dumbass. So, or she can do capoeira. Boom. Now what's up? Or just like walk or whatever. So this is far beyond what we were doing before, right? So let me, can we pull up? Where were we at? So all you guys would have seen in those shorts so far is her looking like this, really, with like a moving mouth. It's like, I call it Gen 1.0. By the way, I had to actually see how with this image here, her hands are actually connected to her sides. That was a problem for when we generated her into a 3D model, because I'll explain in a second. So I had to get an image of her with her hands not touching her sides so that the 3D model could work properly. This MESHY thing is incredibly impressive, and I'll put a referral link in the description. I'm not just shilling it for the referral link. This actually impressed me. Basically, the way that it works is you can go image to 3D, so you can give it a 2D image. So all we did is we took one of those images from over here. I took this one, or first I did this one, worked out that it busted when we tried to animate her. And so then we use this one. We drop this image in. This is not even the big news, guys. This is literally just like side hustle. So can create a model. So it does this kind of thing first, where it creates these basic models that are just very like low res, and then it remeshes it into something that looks a bit more like this. That's a smooths it out, more nodes, more vertices, and then it's got this texture thing where it'll throw the texture on based on an image. That can be a different image. And then as the final step, there's this thing called stylize. I didn't use that. And then as the final step, you animate by rigging up, which, by the way, I'll just show you guys how that works here. So basically, it gives you this diagram of how you do it. By the way, you can do animals as well, but so you tell it first, you like, this is a humanoid or an animal or whatever, and then you go and put, oh, by the way, this screenshot was taken when I was doing the one that was attached at her hands, and that ended up busting. But the idea is legit, right? You put these points, chin, groin, shoulder, elbow, right down to ankles, so that the model can then rig it up and work out how to make that girl move. So, right? And then you've got all of these different movements that you can do. So you can imagine, you can see where this is going, of all the different steps that we can do to start to make, because the ultimate goal here is, so the way I see it, or the business idea that I'm thinking of, is digital avatars that are actually more realistic, more able to be customized, more able to actually work for you. So that you could have an AI workflow where when news drops, so say, rather than me being like, GPT 4.1, it happened 2 hours ago, there would be something that's there checking the news. As soon as that news drops, it goes and does the research, summarizes it, puts it into a script, hands it over to the model, and then gets this chick to present it in a YouTube short, right? And for that, you need, so by the way, I'll get her moving again, one of the ones that we've got, because each of these, you actually see it says you have to rig it first to be able to use it. So we can just click on, there was a way to filter by ones that have already been rigged up. Can't see it. Please rig first. Where's some of the ones that we've got bubble dance. What's going on here? Oh, I'm on the wrong model. Yo, I'm on the wrong model. We want this one. So, because remember, that was the busted model where her hands were connected. And so you can see this almost does look a bit like the way that the chicks used to walk in the early GTA games. So you can see obviously how they were probably doing the stuff. But then we can filter by the rigging that's already added. So these are ones that I've already set up. And we can do cardio dance, right? And you can rotate her around and basically, yeah. So she's 3D. She's doing cardio dancing. So you can imagine how like insane this could get. Obviously, we can get natural sounding voices from Sesame once they release. And so lots of this tech is like literally coming out, and we're using it as it becomes available, or planning how we're going to incorporate things. That's why we're testing it all out. So I tested over like just under 10, probably somewhere between like 6 and 9 different tools to try and achieve this, and MESHY AI was the one that was the one that came through with the goods. And you can export this as, like, if I click download, you can export it as any of these 3D files, FBX, GLB, USDZ. And it's also great for 3D printing. So you can imagine you don't have to texturize something if you want a 3D print. One of the lads in the AI Telegram group, t.me/art versus science, came in and said, hey, I want to be able to take a 2D picture, turn it into a 3D model for 3D printing. Boom. And that's actually what got me motivated to focus on doing this particular thing. And so you can imagine something like this, you could 3D print the S out of that. In fact, you could even 3D print the S out of any of this stuff as well. So it's pretty insane, pretty amazing. By the way, so the insane part is that on this first step, we literally gave it this image up here, and then we gave it this. So from a 2D image, the AI was able to extrapolate what that image is and how it actually feels in 3D to create the. So that's probably the part that's most mind-blowing about this particular tool, is how it can go from 2D to 3D, and then everything else after that is probably tech that pretty much already exists, although I'm sure they insert AI elements. Free to use, by the way. And if you use my referral code, it's actually, we get a month free each. So you get like more ability to free trial. It doesn't look like anyone's used my referral code yet from the Telegram group. All good. Because everything drops in the Telegram group first, right? Because I can't make a video instantaneously about everything. So Telegram, as soon as I find something that's interesting, I put it in the Telegram group. And then when things build up, I make a video. So exciting stuff. We've talked about that. Oh, this was another one. I was told that this was the best one. And it's meant to do image to 3D, but I could only find the spot where it was text prompt to 3D. So we ended up with these models here. Whoops. We ended up with these models, and they were the low res ones, and then just I high resed this one. So this was super hot GTA style female, and like with a pretty face, wearing beachwear, and this was, once it resed it up, you could print that. And again, I think this one gives it in the GLB format as the output. But yeah, so I want a hot female presenter for my YouTube content from now on, because you guys know that most people would rather see a female presenting the news than a male. That's just the way the world works, even for females, by the way. So we'll get there. So that's another one. It's still impressive. She's got abs and stuff. No, I'm just kidding. She's still impressive in terms of what this was able to do. If you look at their ones, right? If you look at their creations here, these are actually pretty impressive. So this is photorealistic human heart. You can spin that around. That's pretty mad. You've got pixel gun, 9mm coded. Pow pow. You've got these little characters and stuff. Here's a bear wearing a suit. I thought that one was pretty cool. Cupcake, little lantern. I think this one's focused on in-game assets. Assets not in terms of money. Assets in terms of items or sprites, like within the game, right? So you've got Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this word on YouTube. Whoa, dude, that's sick. Bruh. Oh, yeah, you can tell this is game focused. I just saw a treasure chest, cannon, burger. You guys like burgers? You get the idea. So that's at Luma Labs AI /Genie or / image. Imagine, I think was the one of the things. But just anyway, just go to lumalabs.ai, so check that out. That's pretty cool. It is impressive, but for what I'm trying to do and for what that 3D printing guy was trying to do, it was definitely MESHY AI. Definitely just stole the show, man. Just absolutely stole the show. Yo, what's up? Yo, what's up? It even, remember, the image only went down to her thighs, and so it actually was also extrapolated what she might be wearing on her feet, boots or high socks or whatever. Very cool. Let's get into it because I'm keen to actually go and code up this next idea. And so I started thinking about, actually from the last, I wanted to tell you guys this thing that happened. You know how people are like, sometimes I'm thinking about someone and then they call me, the crazy stuff like that. Bruh, we had just done this episode on this, and I talked about this SERP AI. And then after the episode ended, while I was coding, and by coding I just mean prompting, I was listening to a YouTube video about the shadow brokers, and it literally. So I had already watched into the video, and so it was at a certain point in the video. I press play on the video, and within about the first 3 to 5 seconds, they talk about how this quote is from the shadow brokers. And I was like, the coincidence on that is absolutely nuts. So I went to look it up, and it's actually this guy gets credited for the quote when you look up online. But this documentary about the shadow brokers said that this is their quote. Free as in free speech, not free beer, was one of the things that they put on their Git when they were using GitHub or an equivalent Git to communicate with the public and the governments when they were trying to, sell 0 days and things like that. So that's nuts. And so I looked that up for more detail. And so just to mansplain this thing, because I just want the efficiency bros to just be losing their mind having to wait for the main alpha of this episode, is we've got free as in beer, right? It means you're actually getting it without having to pay for it. And then free as in speech is the philosophy of freedom of expression, freedom to express yourself, freedom of movement, freedom of everything, freedom of payment, freedom of speech, freedom of ideas, i.e. without censorship or restriction. So free, the monetary version of free, the payment version of free, and then here is the free as in the freedom version of free, to be free. So that's pretty cool. That we know the background of where that came from. I'm even more all in on these guys. So give them a follow if you've got a Git account. We should have looked at how many followers they had before we started encouraging people to follow. And so that's cool. We're over here. This VidNoz was the one. Shout out VidNoz. This was the most practical ability. I get another little. So I misjudged on this. I said that this looks like one of those app casinos that tries to get kids to gamble or something, and this is not. It was actually legit, and it gave me all this free stuff, and I was able to create these shorts that you've seen on this channel, or if you haven't, go and watch them. They're really good, right? We've got Sandra over here just carving it up. So yeah, absolutely legendary. We've been able to do all this stuff for free. It's very cool. Speaking of like loot boxes and things, that criticisms of the gaming industry, you may have heard, I'll go on this tiny tangent, I'll try and keep it quick. You may have heard that the EU have got these new rule, like they're trying to bring in these laws that stop the gaming companies from sort of taking advantage of children for monetary gain by doing these kinds of like addictive gameplay and really heavily focusing on the financial aspects and the sorts of traps that they can use to get kids to like massively overpay for these games. We can fight back now with AI. Like, we can create games that don't do those predatory practices. We can create games that are actually fun and have the old school gaming business model that might not be as profitable, but it's more equitable. And it's a more ethical way of a gaming company. And then if we, like, there's potential there that if the EU stuff really highlights those predatory practices to the public, and there's a big backlash where people say, let's boycott all these games that have predatory practices, those people that say, let's conduct ourselves ethically early in the gaming development communities, in the gaming development space, could then actually make even more money as people go to support. And even if they don't, it doesn't matter. The main thing is you're doing it ethically anyway, and it might make some money. So, you know, I definitely think people should value their ethics over the amount of money that they can make. So rather than just always looking to maximize profit, I would prefer to take slightly less profit or even a lot less profit and be able to sleep at night knowing that you're not taking advantage of young minds that are not able to do the math correctly, to not be able to do the economic math associated with the actions that they're taking within your game. So just another idea where AI, by the way, it is on my ideas list. This one here. Oh, actually, it's worded slightly different. So I've put helicopter sim or any game that has been abandoned by the gaming industry. So this is subtly different. This is saying so this is another thing that happened was games that were selling less copies or less demanded or weren't able to be sold at as higher prices for the dev time or for the input cost stopped getting made. So you're seeing a lot less real-time strategy. You're seeing a lot less sims, like helicopter sims and things like that. And so we can also fill that and so everything previously has just been massively profit driven, right? Now AI is allowing us to enter a world where people who are enthusiasts can actually build the things that they want, and because the cost to create it is so low and the time is so low, it doesn't have to be as profit driven. So we can end up in a more beautiful world. So I'm really looking forward to that. Not sure if I already mentioned previously, because it was meant to be my intro, that the arbitrage at the moment between what is possible with AI tools and what is actually being done with AI tools is absolutely phenomenal. It is so massive. I don't know if I've emphasized this enough on this channel, that we are going to see no-brainer businesses that people are going to look back on and go, why did I not think of that? Where someone just like put some AI tools together and created something and just becomes like multi-million-dollar businesses. That is going to happen, right? That's kind of the point of this series of the 30 businesses in 30 days. We're just trying a bit of everything to try and get a footing and get some, like, let the ideas create more ideas. And today is the first time where I'm like, wow, I've really gone to the top shelf with this now. And if you're reading the screen, you might have already seen it. In fact, I can make this bigger, but I won't. Just made it smaller, just so you guys don't see my idea. By the way, I'm a big believer is if you just share ideas with the world, it's better, right? There's no point trying to hide this stuff. Can I just hit like a little, is there a shortcut I can use to just make this go bigger? Or do I have to use this busted ass? Or why is it okay, wait, one sec. Oh, okay, it was the opposite. Oh, it's just jumping around. Whatever, as long as I can read, I can tell you what it says. So I started thinking about something that I'm doing with every single, because I'm having multiple ideas a day that each one of them could potentially be absolutely incredible. And even though we have AI tools to speed these things up, it's not something where you can just like literally one prompt everything. So these things do take time, even if it might only be an hour or two, but that hour or two might be spent and you don't end up with the actual functioning app, the functioning business. You've just kind of like gone a little bit down the path. So what I really need, but then I realized that everyone needs, is a simple app that where you put your idea in or your annoyance or the thing that you're trying to achieve, your requirement, and it then tells you under the current state of AI technology whether that would be able to be created into an agent, how much AI would be able to help, where it would be able to help, how autonomous, how difficult, what the tools are that are currently the best, etc. Right? So that would be insane. I'm actually planning to build that today because I think it's actually very simple. It's got a few steps in it, but I think it's actually very doable. It's actually more doable than some of the other things we've come up with, where there's more crossover into the real world or more crossover into applications and products and companies that may or may not allow you to like openly and freely access all of the aspects of what their tools are capable of or into their things, or that might require users to provide logins and things like that. This is almost like a highly advanced chatbot that has a dedicated and highly customized workflow behind the scenes that goes through and does everything that we've been doing manually. And then I guess the only problem after that becomes you need another agent to make sure that that process stays up to date so that the person using the app is always getting the best possible outcome from the app, right? So there's multiple layers to this S. There's levels to this S. So basically, I had put the idea already in the Telegram. I said a simple AI that does the hard work to assess if your ideas/requirements can be done with current AI tech, how easily, how automated, how close to being possible if it's not already, or how to get it done if it is. Potential modifications and improvements. It's really just a dedicated chatbot with extra steps that are all abstracted from the user. So I wanted to make that clear that it's not like the user has to do those steps. It's literally a one prompt for the user, and then the AI goes away, works out, maybe has to ask follow-up questions, but probably not, goes and works out what would be involved, goes and does the research as to how you would currently do that with AI tech and looks for options within the space of what the tools would be. How easily are those tools able to be combined? What would be the costs and difficulties associated with doing that? And then basically gives a report. We would maybe even get it to focus in on whether it can be done for free or not, or what services are, or whatever, how it could be built. And then maybe all of that is provided for free in the app, and then the paid section is if you want it to actually be done, or something, like to actually be like, okay, do it. Like, okay, go and do it might be the paid part or whatever. We would have to work out how to monetize those sorts of things. And so even though that was already an incredibly high level idea, it's very meta, and it's also meta actually, i.e. it's meta because it's overpowered, but it's also meta because it's like an idea about an idea, or it's an idea about, it's an idea about making better ideas. You've also got, it also got me thinking about the level above that, because I was like, well, then how do we monetize that? If that was an app that people could use, because I'm literally going to code this thing today. And so I'm like, okay, once this is created and you're allowing people to just use it for free, by the way, I can already work out that all the steps, let's actually go and pull up Zapier, right? Because if we go to Zapier, you can start to see, so basically, effectively what it would be is it would be like a flow like this, where at the start, the user just inputs the thing that they want to know about whether it can be automated with AI, and then it goes and does all the steps, does all the research, does all the assessment, and then gives back at the end a report that's like highly simplified, right? You want it to be as simple as possible so that it's normie proof. And we can even maybe try and one-shot this right now. If we go home, yeah, so you remember it's got this one-shot automation thing. So we could just be like, but before we do that, what are we talking about? Oh, so that got me thinking, so we're going large today. We're literally just going up and up and up and up the ladder. I was like, well, how would an app like this get paid? Like, how would this be a business that actually makes money? And I was like, we could just start it off where it's just free and then you work it out later, aka the Facebook launch. And in fact, lots of companies, but Facebook's one of the most famous of just launching and being completely free for a really long time, hemorrhaging money until they work out how to monetize it. And then obviously now it's very profitable. So that got me thinking about a payment solution, which is now also on the list, even one step above that, right? So if you had, and I was thinking micropayments so that you can express value in very small amounts. And by the way, AI is kind of already doing that with this token thing. Like they've got this token economy. Each AI's kind of got their own like token economy where you pay for the tokens and then it pays for the incremental use of that. But we can go further. We can make a system that is real-time flows, like close to what a human would assess as real time, right? So second by second or whatever. Effectively real-time flows of payments that express values for the things that people are wanting to access that other people have built, right? And then there would be a market, I guess, right? Of paying for compute, specific people's LLMs, tools that people have built, everything, right? So, and it would have to be designed so that agents can also participate in this, so that an agent is able to pay for services. That's really where all of this is going, right? So now we've just leveled up. I thought I'd come up with basically the top shelf idea for us to be working on, and then someone was like, "Yo, there's actually a wine menu that's off book. It's a locked up cellar, but it's in the attic." Refrigerated, obviously. So that is, and by the way, that would be much more difficult. That's not a one shot. Lol. Because payment systems have got all sorts of issues that would make this a much harder thing to build, right? So we're going to this one here, even though that is kind of going to be needed at some point. We might need to put a team together for that one. A team of AI agents. No, So realistically, when you think about this, right, people think a lot about like the number of agents you've got to work for you, and there's this idea that people talk about swarms and things like that. But remember that a lot of the power comes from iteration as well. So there's bruh, the power that we currently have at our fingertips right now makes it really difficult to go and do anything else other than work on AI projects. So hopefully that's the real value that this channel brings, is just to raise the alarm bell of how urgent it is that we need to be paying attention to this, using the tools, thinking about what's possible, and doing might be the last period of time where human effort and human intelligence is even matters for who is performing, right? So it's actually quite urgent that you get out ahead of the curve before everyone has just got a one-click solution for everything, and the only people that are making money are the people that were here in the trenches at this part of the process before everything is. So this is like a land grab. I've got two analogies for you. One of them is like, this is like computers just got invented, but everyone's still using fax machines. And everyone's like, what? Like not understanding the power, and the people that are putting the computers into their businesses, the people that are using computers are just massively ahead, but importantly, people who are building business ideas and launching companies that are surrounding computers are the people that will become the future billionaires. That's the situation that we are in at the moment with AI. It literally is something that is of that level of like just shift within the technological power that we have access to, and people haven't worked it out yet. And the other analogy I'll give you, which is subtly different but kind of the same importance, is that it's kind of like a land grab, right? Because you need to be able to be the first person to position yourself within this area, because once it becomes an everyday thing, notice how hard it is now to break into markets like competing with Amazon, competing with Facebook, competing with those things. Those things are very, very, very difficult to compete with because they're already established and they're already massive. They can buy out their competition. They can use their money. They can do regulatory capture, even though that's highly unethical. They still do it. They can do all sorts of things that make it very, very, very difficult to break into that market. That will probably also happen here, but it'll be parabolic. It'll be accelerated because people will be using the AI to make it even faster. So everything's going to be happening. I don't want to sound alarmist, but actually I do. Everything's going to be moving way faster, way more aggressively, way more value creation, way more. It's billionaires and trillionaires are about to be made with this tech. And so just put on your dance shoes, because this little AI chick over here is not going to be the only one dancing soon. So, wrecked my joke. Add this one. You know what? Give her an attack. Oh, if I give her the axe stance, is it going to give her an axe, or is she just going to do the movement without it? We're just going to do this as a little break. Oh, forgot to tell the efficiency bros to back down for a bit. Oh, no, she actually doesn't have the axe, but she does the action without it. Very convincing. She's miming it. She's a great mime. Okay, back to the point. So, look, this is what's happening right now. These are daily candles, yo. These are daily candles of others. So the collective usage of other LLMs is still the biggest usage. Okay, let's go for programming. Let's see for programming. That can't be right, that it's like the same every day. Oh, it's because it's percentage. This is percentage use. Whoa, look at how, is that Anthropic? How can I know what that color is? Because whatever that was, it was being used massively and then it just got crushed by this model. Oh, okay, yeah. So at the top. So this was, it got taken out by its own model, lol. So this was Claude 3.5, or I'm told by Frenchies that it's pronounced Claude. We're going, and then it was 3.7, ate its lunch. Obviously, that's what you would expect, right? When a new model comes out. So I thought a model got leapfrogged, baby. So this is very interesting data. I hadn't realized this before. Role play got taken out by Google. So here's one of what I thought that other one was. So, so it was collective others until Gemini got released, and then that became the role play king. Marketing, SEO, tech, science, translation, legal, finance, health, trivia, academia. Who's using AIs for trivia? We're supposed to be building, bro. Tech. OpenAI, that's 4.0. Huh. There were a few days there where it basically didn't get, it must have been down. It must have gone down. There's no way it's just going to go and drop to zero use over those days. So anyway, by the way, when I say down, from accessing it from OpenRouter. So the link could be down from between the two while it's still actually operational at their end. So just to make sure people aren't like, oh, you're fudding, saying that OpenAI is like unreliable and goes down and stuff. Bruh, this ain't no blockchain. So we're going over here. What were we actually doing? Oh yeah, we were going to go and try and one-shot this thing with Zapier. I'm so hyped about this. So is it this one here, isn't it? Yeah. Let's give me that prompt. Hand me that prompt, man. Hand me that prompt sheet, bro. Right, so what I would do, so we have to build this first, and then from then on, we'll never have to do this ever again. But for this one, to build this one that's going to be able to build or like work out how to build the future ones, we have to build it. If you build it, they will come. Not like that. If you build it, they will arrive. So what we want to do is we want to pump that. Not like that. What we want to do is we want to insert that. Not like that. What we want to do is we want to paste that into here. So is that going to be cool because this is AI creating a workflow. So I'll just say create a workflow for an AI business checker to assess if the current AI tech is available / capable to create an idea. And I also want to take some of the, or how much do I put in this initial prompt? Yeah, let's just hit it. Deep research on the idea and what would be required. Any improvement for improvements or potential alternatives. Go to the end of this thing. I've got no idea how long these prompts are allowed to be. I'll say any suggested improvements or potential alternatives. How easily can the components of the tech, components of the required tech be combined? So that's really looking at, the communication between the tools, APIs, MCP servers, things like that. But also, looking at any conflicts that these tools are going to have, how easy it is effectively for these tools to be combined and used on the same project. And then I'll just remove the S from that and say report on how likely any missing tech. We'll change that when we get over here. Getting to the end. I probably could have pressed a different button for that, right? So report on how likely any missing tech will become available soon. When report on when, how, because I still want it to be like probability, right? So it's because it's not going to know. Whatever, it'll work it out. It's an AI, right? And then finally, provide a very efficient report. Oh, I've hit the end. Provide an efficient report. Provide an efficient report. Right, let's see if Zapier can one-shot this. I'm gonna actually Control C that just in case the thing S's the bed or S's its nappy. There was an issue on our end. Please try again in a few minutes. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go and hand this over to, we're going to go to these LLMs. We're going to go to chat. What do you think, chat? So we're going to go in here, new room, to auto router. No, where did my models go? Optimus is known for... What the hell? Oh, no. Oh, dude. Maybe those stealth models were the 4.1 GPT that's come out now. And now, so, because I just searched alpha and both of those models are gone. So, could that have been... What happens when you just search on the auto router? Who does it give it to? Yo. Auto router. Insufficient credits. Well, bruh. Why are you routing me to something that can't be used, bruh? Yo. Let's just get my favorite base. Gemini Pro Experimental. 2.5 Pro Experimental. Let's hit that up. Turn off the auto router and just go straight to this and go yo, just make sure that's working. Should just reply with like a yo or something. Just like a what up. Then we're going to ask this thing. Yo, what up? How can I help? Boom, paste. Create a workflow for an AI business. So this will be cool because it should be able to do it, right? And then we can basically go and manually create the workflow in Zapier. I won't do it live, obviously, because the efficiency bros are already losing their mind that I never actually did an inefficient section. It's just because everything's so hyped. I'm in such a rush. I'm trying to get my code on here. I'm trying to get my snack on these digital snacks, these digital assets. Oh, and look, it's already learnt my communication greeting preference. Okay, yo, it's like this AI is trying to be cool now. It's like, shut up, boomer. So, okay, yo, let's build a solid workflow. Process aims to blah, blah, blah. Right, so understand and deconstruct. So this is cool. Yeah. Give me, so, in fact, I haven't even read it to see if it is, but okay, cool. Give me step-by-step of how you would set this up in Zapier. So this is the sort of way that you have to think until we have the AI tools that just allow you to one-shot everything, right? It's just a constant of bouncing around, looking at tools, asking the AI. So by the way, most of those AI tools that I found for like all the visual stuff, all the thing, turning that girl into 3D and stuff, which is pretty insane, considering what game devs would have had to do in the past to create characters like that. All of it, or I always start asking an AI a simple question of like, hey, I want to do this. This is my idea. Get me started, right? So that's how every journey begins with a single step. So let's break it down. Zapier doesn't do... yeah, of course it doesn't, bro. It's going to just be a step within it. It's going to API out. Yeah, so calls to... yeah, duh. Aren't you supposed to be like 200 IQ or something? So I don't even want the user to have to put in this many. I want them to just literally put their email so that the report can be delivered to them, unless they just, and that will even be optional, right? I'm a privacy enthusiast. So it's like if they don't mind having the data just given to them at the end on the screen. We are building this today. So not on stream. So yeah, cool. All right. So we're on it. I still think that one-shotting this, we're going to attempt to one-shot this on every... I'll pull up every agent in the book. I'll get out my little black Rolodex and just hit up every single... We'll go into Rabbit. We'll go new chat. Rabbit. Don't make me log in front of everyone, bro. So GenSpark. We'll go to GenSpark. We'll go new chat. In fact, no, we have to be careful because some of these we can only use once per day, and some of them we might want to use them to actually build the actual app, right? So we can either try and find something that just can one-shot the whole thing, or we can combine something that can build a front end, something that can build the full stack. So we would probably be using Firebase to try and think. Anyway, let me work that out once I'm off the stream. Is that about all I needed to tell you guys? So that's two big ideas that I've delivered to you guys today in terms of where this thing is going, to get you guys in the right mind space and focus for where it's going, what we can be doing. Ultimately, we need to find things that are not currently addressed. By the way, there is no competition. There is no competition. Ignore competition. Ignore that. We're going to do it better, right? Remember, when your work is art, by definition, there can be no competition. So, but what we want is we want things where we're building tools that are going to actually be helpful. Obviously, we've got a bit meta and we're starting to build things that are like AI tools for AI stuff. But ultimately, once we've gone through those processes enough, then we're going to be starting to be able to more easily, quickly, and efficiently branch out into the things that we actually want to build that are non-AI stuff, right? Like games and books and stuff like that. But if we create the foundational technology, everything else becomes way easier. Remember that was the original mission statement of the channel. Why am I showing you guys a blank screen? Oh, it's because Firebase Studio. That was the original intention of the channel, is to create the ultimate agent so that we can just one-shot everything. And really, it's just that we're doing all this other stuff on the path there, and on the path to do that, given that the tech might actually not be there just yet, we're doing everything that we can, and it's going to be beneficial. So yeah, we're kicking A. Is that everything we wanted to talk about today? I had tabs to remember the most critical stuff. This stuff's not logging in. That's cool. Yeah, that's everything. So I'm going to leave the video there so I can actually go and start building. I hope you're as hyped as me. I know I'm hyped. I know you're hyped. So what we're really doing is we're ignoring any fears. We're trying to add value to others. We're trying to build things that we're going to find useful for ourselves and things that are going to be useful to other people as well. They say that the best startups are actually when people solve their own problem and then turn that into a business. So at the moment, we've just got this absolutely insane... That's part of the problem with AIs, is so many tools and so many things that are changing so quickly. And so ultimately, this app idea that I've come up with today actually solves that high-level problem. And so, yeah, let's get it done, right? So that's Firebase. So Firebase, remember, that's full stack dev. So we can hit that up as well. I'm about to get started. I actually ended up with 2 coffees over here. I don't even know if I've even taken a single sip the entire episode because I'm literally that hyped. This was supposed to be the energy for the episode, and then it just ended up being just genuine, natural hype level. And then, yeah, this was the app that it tried to make before. We're going to just flag that off. I've been building so much stuff in AI, I've probably forgotten half of it. There's probably like code on my computer that has built stuff that I just am, because I'm just going full just max speed, max clip. Obviously, sub to the channel. Obviously, if you want to discuss any of these ideas or give me feedback, comments below, or the Telegram channel, t.me/art versus science. This channel on YouTube is obviously growing. I'm getting a lot of positive feedback. I know that today I didn't give the efficiency bros what they wanted, which was like a more dedicated efficiency thing up front. But, I was just too hype, man. I was just too hype. So you'll just have to accept my you'll just have to accept my lack of apology. And we're out.